Hey, what's up, guys? This is Allfather here and doing a little pre-war planning video. This is round two going at it. Trying to get better at doing it quickly. The last one got a little lengthy, and so I'm going to fly through this. Goal is 20 bases in 20 minutes. I'm not going to give specific army comps, basically just going to look for scouting out traps and potentially quick looking at what a good army composition may be. So we'll give it a go and see if we can get it in close to 20 minutes. Starting with number 20 base, low level air defenses. Obviously, any sort of dragoon attack is going to work with this. Air sweeper is back here, pointed there. It's not really going to affect anything, but definitely probably just look at your standard, 105.3L dragoon attack there, and pick the right angle. You're really not going to be able to screw this up with that attack. So have no qualms or question that that one's going to go down. Here we also have 8554. Going to be pretty easy to take out. You can dragon snipe, but I would probably just go safe and do a 3L and lightning one of the level 5 ADs and attack at the remaining one. Remember, when you do line these up, if you do, say, lightning this one, draw a line from the clan castle through the remaining two air defenses, and that's going to give you your funnel direction and where you want to start your cuts. If you lightning this one, same thing, draw a line between the remaining two air defenses and then a couple buildings on the outside, and that's your funnel direction. That's how I determine where I'm going to come from, because that clan castle, I know once it triggers, is going to pull everything towards it. All right, this base, very quickly, on a quick glance, we've got two air defenses that are pretty exposed and one that's kind of an outlier. You do have the air sweeper right here that's pointed down at them. That could be a little bit of trouble, but I don't think it's going to cause too much of an issue if you do an air attack. Something similar to an LQR, taking that one out, leaving yourself a rage to get your Dragoon at the remaining one. Draw your line there, your funnel, and that's the direction you would go there if you go LQR. Let's see. If you do hogs, obviously, there's no double giant bombs to be of note that I can see there. The only traps we have to worry about are, there's a spot here and a spot here. Everything else, there's a spot here too. So you have three potential spots where you could assume potentially single giant bombs. Kind of hard to tell from the layout whether there's going to be giant bombs or Teslas. And so if you do go hogs or something like that, just pre-heal those areas and you'll be fine. Okay, with this base, again, not going to do specific army comps, just going to try to help you scout out some ideas for traps. Looks like a channeling base as far as a ground troop, getting them to walk around in circles. And so with that, I would try to bet on giant bombs being in these little spaces that are kicked out here, because of the fact that they want you to walk right through them. They're not really, a Tesla doesn't really make sense there because you just don't care. You're not trying to channel flying troops, you're trying to channel ground troops, which means very likely there's going to be two there. People typically like to put Teslas around their town hall, and they typically like to spread them out. And so I would probably bank on Teslas there. And then maybe there's something down there, just because there's a lack of air troop or air defense down there. So very possible there's another Tesla down there. And then we would have a third giant bomb spot too, which that could be here. That could be like a quasi double giant bomb there on each side of the wall. I don't know. But either way, you don't have a true double giant bomb set to worry about, so pre-healing on any sort of hog attack is going to work just fine. You have a BK that's out here hanging out. If you want to do a go-ho route and take him out, as well as the giant bomb spots. So definitely several options there. Here you definitely have anti-air base design. Everything is that's anti-air is focused in the middle with your sweeper, your arch towers, and your air defenses. So that's going to lend itself to a ground attack. We do have very few compartments, which means you're well set up for a go wipe style attack. And if you look at up in here, you have all sorts of single target defenses that can latch onto your golems with a good golem spread, get them in there. Whether you jump or if you quake this area here, I think you'd be able to take out both of those walls and open up everything, which would leave basically the only compartments remaining would be here, your whiz towers, and this last one. So definitely easy to get in there, bust in, and get the 2-star if you quake that. The question would be, do you have enough to get all the way through to the backside? So I'd definitely consider maybe bringing just a few targeted back end troops. I definitely think you want to come at it either from this direction or this direction because of the BK being down there, or the single target concentration on the top side. You get more defenses. But I think you're definitely going to need a hybrid back end strategy, whether it's targeted hogs or loons. With all the air defense concentrated in the middle, I would say loons very possibly would be a good option. As far as the back end targeting, you would only need 4 to 8 probably. With that, obviously be cautious of air skellies. Keep your poison spell for that. All right, things to note with this base, we have lureable clan castle troop, trying to get a single hog or something in there to do the lure. And we have our BK is fairly exposed out here, so if you want to do some sort of go-ho style strategy, you should be able to come in there and take care of him. A couple other things as far as where Teslas and giant bombs might be. We've got a double giant bomb potential there, and that's really the only one. There is one here, obviously, but you're not going to path across that because there's no defense. Nothing's going to come this way. It's not going to travel that far to go between the mortars, and so it's only going to trip one at a time there, but that would be a pre-heal spot if you're going to do something like that. To disable double giant bomb threats, all you would have to do is remove this wizard tower, and that can be done with targeted hogs and those kind of things. But other than that, you don't have any other double giant bomb threats. Most likely Teslas are around the core protecting it. Very possible that they could be sneaking some single giant bombs kind of up in these areas, the ones that are between defenses. There's a 2x2 jet out here that doesn't make a lot of sense, so that very possibly could be a Tesla. Could be a giant bomb here. So it's going to be very hard to pre-heal all the giant bomb spots. So you're probably going to want to use some sort of heavy golem kill squad and maybe just use some targeted specialized troops as far as hogs or whatever to supplement. Maybe a hogo wipe or something like that. Okay, on this base, we see BK here, DGB threat here, DGB threat here. Very good candidate for some sort of go weho or something like that. You can send a kill squad in here to disable that double giant bomb spot and take out the king. Only other one you have to worry is on the backside. Could deal with that with targeted troops, targeted hogs, as long as you don't send them so that they path across. If you target them from the backside from this direction, be able to take those out and not cross that double giant bomb potential. From there, you very possibly could be looking at like a trip Tesla in the middle. There is a spot over here that could be a giant bomb as things path towards the middle. And those are kind of your main threats to this base. So take that into mind when you're planning this attack out. Moving into the Town Hall 9s, we have a very premature Town Hall 9. Very quickly exposed queen is good. We have low-level air defenses, which is going to lead us to a potential air attack. We have expos set to ground currently, and so very good potential for a La Lune attack. If you're not comfortable with that and you like to go ground, a very good setup for a go-ho attack. Or even a straight hog attack, honestly. BK swap over here with the queen will take her out. And the only threats that you really have for giant bombs are going to be in the core, or very likely on these outside corners where there's openings, which would be an entry point to a defense. So I would suggest, if you're going to do that approach, to send some scouts in here, try to pre-trip these spots and make sure that those aren't giant bombs, and if they are, get them out with one hog or one giant or whatever troop it might be. And all you have to do is make sure that you have a plan to pre-heal all those areas in the core. And with 4 spells as a Town Hall 9, you'll be able to cover the whole base. So either one of those attacks can be a great strategy for this. All right, moving up to this base, slight anti-hog setup. You got a lot of flip trap action going on here between the defenses in the corners. Anytime they're leaving that 1-by-1 spot there in a channeling base, it's going to be some sort of trap, whether it's a bomb or a flip trap. Same with here. As far as double giant bomb threats, you only have one that I see right there. By the queen, it's really not a good spot. They would only path across one at a time, and you'd be able to pre-heal that. But since it's right next to the queen, you would be able to take a go-we kill squad right in there and tackle the potential double giant bomb spot and the queen there. We also have very low-level air defenses as well, so if you want to take an air attack at there. One thing of note is these really tightly grouped air defenses in the backside. You'll be able to take that out with like a 3 lightning spell and a quake, which would leave you 1 spell left. So if you think you can handle that with an air attack and maybe snipe some of those other air defenses or whatever, you can do that. Test it out in the goblin missions if you want to see the light strike pattern and how it works. What I've found is that if you go right in the middle of them, that you get the correct light strike pattern to where the quake will finish them off. Up to number 11 already. And we have buried heroes. We have expos pointed down, fairly low level air defenses, and the only threats other than the queen and the king being buried in there so far, obviously the expos down opens up a potential air attack, but you also have to be wary of these spots in here. We have 2 potential double giant bomb threats in the middle, and I say it's a 50-50 shot of those being quad Teslas or double giant bombs, because single giant bombs out here don't really make sense because the pathing isn't going to take anything across them. Doesn't mean that's not where they are, but I'd be much more worried about DGBs in the middle and Teslas out here on the edges. So keep that in mind when you're planning out your attack strategy for this base. All right, we're halfway there, up to number 10. And again, Town Hall 9 is such a different animal than Town Hall 8 that I'm not going to do a lot of trying to give specific strategies, just going to point out any weaknesses in the base. Here we have an Archer Queen right here, surrounded by a lot of air targeting defenses, 2 air defenses, a sweeper, and archer tower. And so if you can disable a lot of air defense going that way, you have expos pointed down, so if you were able to take that out, you might be able to work some sort of air attack towards the backside. As far as ground attacks, double giant bomb threats, there are none that I can see because of the way they have these put in here. As far as the potential hidden trap spots, we have a ton of those though. So there's lots of 2x2 and 2x3 spaces. My guess is that you're going to see giant bombs on the outside, because if somebody was going to try to come in and snipe those air defenses with hogs or something, the only way to kind of try to help defend against that would be to put giant bombs out there. So let's assume that for a moment. That would leave Teslas in here. most likely in by the town hall. And then obviously in these boxes, there's potential for Teslas there too. So that's what I would bet on. It's possible they could put the Teslas out there to protect the air defense as well. Not sure that would make a lot of sense, but again, it's kind of a 50-50 shot at it on this base. Moving on to number 9. This is a fairly stock internet type base. I'm sure you can find it on the internet. I'm not sure what it's called off the top of my head. I don't know if it's Giza or something similar to that, but it's very common. And with that, you can almost be assured of quad Teslas right there protecting the heroes, which leaves giant bombs up in here, 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 and maybe down here, something like that. So you're not going to have double giant bombs to deal with. You do have a lot of action going on the approach to the town hall, so be cautious there. If you try to go up through the south, you're dealing with the heroes, 4 Teslas, and 2 Expos coming at you all at once. So you're going to want to try to break this from a different direction and see if you can't undo the design by maybe coming in at it from the side with a jump or a quake spell and going at heroes one at a time, Expos one at a time, and Teslas 2 at a time. This is definitely a stock internet base. I don't know what it's called off the top of my head, but I will find it, and I will find the YouTube links for 3-star attacks against it and post it into the caller. But for now, just be aware that this is a stock base, and there will be lots of information on how to beat it, and we'll just bring that to you via the Clash caller tomorrow. All right, this one is either somebody who's really trying to bait you into something or somebody that does not understand the concept of spawn points, because there's a spawn point right there. There's going to be a spawn point right there. So they've obviously got traps hidden in there. It could be a big mess of them. Could be like 4 giant bombs in the core or something. Who knows what they're trying to do. We'll see if they fix that or not. But they're obviously either intentionally trying to do that, but either way, use a cheap troop, barbs or whatever, and go ahead and trigger those off the get-go to figure out what's there. That'll help you determine the rest of your attack. As far as double giant bombs, other than, if they are in the core here, you're going to trip every single one of them with your spawn point there, so you don't have to worry about that. You do obviously have flip traps if your troops were to kind of go down this line, so you want to try to avoid coming at the pathing that direction, or they're going to just hit a bunch of flip traps. You're going to lose a bunch of troops. Other than that, I would suspect Tesla here and probable, who knows. This is a goofy looking setup. But anyway, all I really need to do is to sniff out some of these traps is take care of those spawn points. That'll tell you what's where, and you should be able to direct the rest of your attack accordingly. Another stock internet base, Google most popular Town Hall 9 war bases, and you'll find this if you can't go to One Hive webpage or Gadihh, Gadihh. Search that, and he's got a base beat section on his website that I guarantee will have this base. It's got to be one of the more popular ones, and it's just a stock internet base. And you'll find the information you need to 3-star that on there. But quickly on a pre-scout, as far as what you can expect here, is quad Teslas in the core, 2 sets of double giant bombs here, buried heroes, and this one could be Giza too. I'm not sure what it's called, but I guarantee you go to one of those 2 sources and you'll find this base. Up to number 5. At this point, we're getting into some pretty high-level bases, lots of high level walls, level 20 queen, level 14 BK. At this point, for sure, I would not be too concerned about 3-star attacks. I know we're 3-star mentality, but at some point there's just the logic of let's try to get a guaranteed 2-star so that we don't have to waste an attack cleaning up. That said, I would just bust a power attack in from any direction. I would probably suggest coming in at a direction that only has to fight one max expo at a time. And so the most logical approach would probably be from here. You're going to have a hard time getting a good golem spread or anything like that, but if you work at it, you'll be able to do it. Jump or quake into the core and just use your spells early, take care of the clan castle, take care of the heroes, bust in there and get that town hall, and then just make sure that you have a good plan for 50%. There's some free buildings out here on the corner that are pretty easy to pick up. That'd probably be a good spot. There's not a lot of air coverage out here. Going to be another place where you might be able to pick up some extra percentage points. But let's go ahead with a guaranteed 2-star strategy on this one when you're picking out your army comp. All right, now we move up into the meta bases, the anti 3-star bases, very centralized clan castle, offset town hall, and again, we're up in the area where if they're going to give us 2 stars, let's take it. And so you're not going to be able to probably get a great lure here without spending a lot of troops, but you might be able to coming in pretty cheaply down here, because you're gonna, if you take hogs here, they're gonna path here. Next closest building appears to be that mortar. It might go to the archer tower, but if it does, it's gonna be within the radius to trip it. So pretty much any of these corners look like you're going to be able to get a clan castle trigger. If you want to, you can also do it on the fly and use rages, poison spells, or whatever to deal with them. And I think that would be perfectly fine as part of a 2-star strategy. And so, again, don't be cute. We see this with these other, when on our anti 3-star bases where they think they're going to get fancy and come in, from the backside and execute their awesome 3-star attack, and it ends up being 1. Let's not do that. Let's go ahead and take what they're giving us. They're giving us the town hall. There's a lot of buildings out there for 50%, so let's take what they're giving us, get them 2-starred off the bat, and then go ahead, and if we are able to jump out and do what we did like last time, then we can start looking at follow-ups with 3-star strategies. But as an aside, on this kind of base, what you're looking at is really advanced strategies, probably for 3 stars. Queen walks, go hose, targeting. You have to split the base into 3 or 4 sections and attack each one individually. And that takes a lot of skill, and probably not something we're quite ready for yet, but we will be soon. Top 3, they're all Town Hall 10s, and obviously we have one Town Hall 10 who's got the spells and the ability to do that, but he can only attack 2 bases, and this is base number 3, and so very likely this is going to fall to one of our Town Hall 9s. And really our only issues here on this base, guys, other than obviously Inferno Towers, that's what they're called. We've got exposed heroes, so we're going to be able to deal with those very easily, whether we use a Goho approach. But in order for one of our TH9s to 3-star this, it's going to be a hog attack. You see that there's very few spaces. There's not going to be a lot of flip traps or anything like that. And so I think a good max hog Letner fly out here with a maybe a single golem go wee wee, not a go wee wee, but just, a golem with your standard witch whiz barb kill squad in here is going to be able to do a little bit of distract, probably take care of those heroes, and then most of the attack I think is just going to be a mass hogger and just heal everywhere and try to bust through the space using an attack strategy like that. And I think that's probably going to be our best bet. It's either going to be 3 stars or 1 star most likely, but I think it's probably worth it with this kind of base design. And then we have our last top 2 Town Hall 10s. pretty much going to use a safe 2-star strategy and probably go right at the queen and try to tackle these Inferno towers one at a time. So I'm probably going to look at quaking in somewhere in the vicinity right here to open up that compartment and funnel in everything there towards the town hall. Another option would be to come in from this direction and take them there. As far as potential threats, we've got double giant bomb possibilities probably here and there. I would probably venture to bet that that's where they are, and you're very likely going to see a handful of Teslas maybe in there somewhere. So they could be sprinkled throughout the base as well. It's very possible, but most likely there's going to be a lot of heat around the core, so they're going to have to get in there quick, freeze some Inferno towers, and rage to the core, and make sure we got a 50% plan for some of these outlying buildings down here. There's no coverage against an air troop like a minion, those kind of things. We've got a Licks drill there that's going to be accessible, and maybe a few other buildings as you scout it out. Last but least, number one base, and you see it's a little bit rushed. It's not fully developed. Heroes are lower than a lot of the lower bases. 2 single target Inferno towers, and so obviously that's going to melt big troops like golems very quickly. So what you're going to need to do is bust in there and kind of rage up and take those out right away. Don't let them fry the golems. And we've got reasonably lurable clan castle, so that shouldn't be too much of an issue. We've got a couple compartments here that are open that suggest there's some sort of traps there, and it looks like quad Teslas again around the core. So you've got in all these bases, you're going to have your Expos, your Heroes, your Inferno towers, and your Teslas all in the core. And so basically you just got to bum rush it and try to rage everything up to get through there. But even if you come from the bottom here, you should be able to quake all that open, go right in the bottom and bust into the core and take those out. Obviously freeze a Inferno tower, and if I was going to freeze one, I would freeze it here and try to catch that Expo over on the right hand side. Other than that, again, just find the freebie buildings if there are any, and have that for your 50% backup plan. That does it for the pre-war planning video. Hope it's a help, gives you some ideas and some vision into maybe the base setups, and looking forward to this war. It looks like it's going to be another tough one, and I can't wait to see what y'all bring to the battle.